for you.
All right, everybody, welcome. I'm Tanya Smith, and this is Stream Like a Boss Live. Look, I am here every week, each and every week, to share with you live stream video strategies to help you to serve more people, stand out online, and sell more of your services. So I am absolutely thrilled and just so humble to be able to sit here with my girlfriend from a long way back, Tai Goodwin. In a few short seconds, I'm going to be bringing her in and we're going to introduce her. And I'm going to share with you her formal bio, but I also need to just talk about her because she's an amazing person and she's done some really incredible things. Welcome to the show. It's wonderful to see you, John and Dan. And Dan, you know, I pulled up your note that said boss. Look, you're going to love my new sound bite. Let me see if I can find it because you know I'm always bad at that.
Like a boss.
Like a boss. All right. So, look, if you have been here before, I want you to type in hashtag OG. And if you've never seen the show, but this is your first time, I want you to type in hashtag newbie. You are more than welcome to ask questions and to comment on anything that we're talking about. We really are just getting ready to hang out. And frankly, I really need a hangout moment because I've been stuck in the crib for the last 4 days here in Dallas, iced in. So please, let's have some fun. Feel free to share comments, like I said, questions as well. And in just a few short seconds after this short video, you're going to meet my very special guest, Tai Goodwin, and I'll introduce her when she comes up on our visual stage. All right, see you right back. All right, there she is. Hey, beautiful.
Hey, Tanya, I was over here bopping and dancing to your intro. Oh, so cool.
It's so much fun to do this stuff. Look, Ty, I got to formally introduce you, but then we're just going to dive in and I'm going to ask some questions. You know how, you know the drill. We've been doing this for a hot
Let's
minute.
go. Hmm.
And as people come in and say hello, please make her feel welcome, y'all, because this is the first time in a long time, I think, Ty, that we've been together on a show, but we did some shows before. And we did
We
podcast
did.
audio, we've done video,
Hmm.
we've done it all.
Yeah.
So, look, Tai Goodwin is the CEO of that marketing team and the creator of Quiz and Grow Rich. She's an award winning instructional designer with more than 20 years of experience creating learning experiences and content for Fortune 500 companies such as Barnes and Noble and even tech startups like Leadpages. Now, look, more than that, I know Ty is an amazing mother, someone who has been around the block when it comes to digital marketing. She has done just about everything, Ty. I think really everything. I can't think of anything you haven't done yet. So tell us a little bit about what's not in the bio. Like Dan said, it's Ty time.
Hey, I like that, Dan. All right. And I know you're right because you're the honest recruiter. So already, you're in there. Something that's not in my bio is that I have been happily unemployed for 6 years. And I cannot, believe it, because most small businesses, they don't make it to the 5 year mark. It's been 6 years, and we've been fortunate enough to hit multiple six figures in our business, serving our clients, helping them generate leads with things like quizzes and online funnels. And my biggest passion is teaching people how to market. I'm a former teacher,
Yep.
taught fifth grade for a few years before going into corporate training, and so um, I love teaching. That's kind of the thing that makes me light up. So the fact that I get to do that every day, winning all day long.
Look, you are always winning and you always have been a winner. Tell me a little bit, or tell them, because I know
Hmm.
a little bit about how you got started. You talked about being unemployed or self employed, or however people want to interpret that. But when did you first start doing anything in the digital marketing space and why? Like, what was the thing that triggered this for you?
Yeah. Well, the whole journey into entrepreneurship happened because of my daughter. She's 20 years old, Tanya. Can you believe it? And
What?
I've seen your little people grow up. I've seen your daughter in college now. Oh my gosh, and mini me. Oh, it's just been amazing to see. So we both had that journey. But when she was born, my plan and my intention was not to go back to a day job. I wanted to be home and take care of her and have a business. And it didn't quite work out that way. And I think when we first met, I was launching while working, and we're kind
Yeah.
of touching back to some of that now. I'll tell you about that later. But launching while working. And what happened was I planned to be a coach. And I was going to coach other women of color who wanted to get six-figure jobs. And back then, 20 years ago, women, and particularly women of color, weren't really paying for coaching.
Yep.
So
It's true.
it was yeah, because we had conversations about that. It was really, really hard to like build that up at that time. And so what I really got good at though was creating a community with social media. And so people were first like, well, can you show me how you did it? Can you teach me? And then they said, okay, well, can you just do it for me? And that was my first foray into digital marketing. Like I started it for myself because as a single mom at the time, I couldn't go to networking events because I worked
Yeah.
from home. I didn't have a babysitter, and so I leveraged the heck out of Facebook and
Yeah.
LinkedIn and everybody I knew, and I built a really good following that way. And then I just started teaching people, and then we started doing it for people as well.
That is so. Look, so there's some things that are uniquely, they are unique to the experience that you just shared, in that as a mother, as someone who is a woman of color, as someone who is trying to make their path in the digital marketing space, all of those things could have been seen as roadblocks back then.
Hmm.
Because, like you said, we both went through a lot of challenges, and there weren't a lot of platforms that really elevated us or gave us the potential to be able to break through, especially given all the commitments that we have.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh
what was the
yeah.
thing that drove you to keep going? And what was the thing that made you? You said you leveraged Facebook, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
What was the thing that drove you to make this thing work?
Oh man. I don't know. I'm crazy.
I
you know,
don't think so.
where most people would have been like, well, I'm just going to stay at this six-figure job. Who needs a part-time business when you're a single parent
Yeah.
and you got a six-figure job and you took your New York salary and moved to Minnesota and you get to work from home? Why would you ever have another thing that you're doing? So for a lot of people, I'm sure, especially my family, I'm sure it sounded really crazy. You're going to leave your what? And you're
They
going to do
probably said
what?
that. She's crazy.
Exactly, exactly. I don't know what's wrong with her. But you know what? It's been a desire. I've always had something in me that makes it really important for me to love what I do,
Yeah.
like the people that I'm working with, right? And like the people who I'm working for. Well, in a corporate environment, liking the people who I was working for, that wasn't going so well because I kept running into the same types of limitations. And, I think in my last position, I said, if I looked a little bit different, we'd be having different conversations about my career. Like it was that serious. And I said, I don't want to do this anymore. And I remember at the time I was married. And I told my then husband, I said, I will eat ramen noodles every day for 2 years before I go back to a day job. Like I was that serious.
Yeah.
And it was the first time, Tanya, that, I've been working since I was 15. It was the first time I left a job. I didn't have a backup plan. I did not have I didn't even have a resume. And I didn't even have a side business because when I worked at this last company, I could not have a business on the side. So I literally gave them the option. I said, well, asked if I what my options were. I said, do you need 2 weeks or can I leave this week? Was my way of phrasing that question to them. And yeah, I took their little severance package and I was out the door and I started this second leg of my business because, and you know this, but I was a full-time entrepreneur back in 2012
Yeah.
and then ended up going back to a day job. So this is my second time being full-time.
So when you made this decision that was a crazy decision, how long did it take for you to start to see the fruits of your efforts? Because I think that might be inspirational to some folks. And by the
Mm,
way, I know we're starting about an hour earlier than we normally do, so I don't see my normal crew in here, but they'll be shuffling in shortly. One of the things that I think would be beneficial to them is to hear a little bit about some of the rocky times.
mhm.
And
Oh
then
my
also the
goodness.
things again that really just kept you going. Like, how long did it
Mhm.
take from the point where you decided, I'm going to eat these ramen noodles, to the point to where you were taking vacations on the beach,
Uh-huh.
ma'am? Because I saw the pictures.
Oh yes. Well, the first time, the first go round, um, it took some time. Like I was making a little bit of money, but it
Yeah.
wasn't enough to really sustain things. And I got to this place where I felt like, if I'm going to be successful, I'm going to have to make these big promises. Like everybody at that time was talking about six figures in
Yeah.
6 weeks. And I didn't want to do that, and so I left. And I went, back to a day job. Um, what I didn't do though was I didn't ask enough. And so when I came out the second time, first of all, I got some better coaching, you know, and I really leveled up who I was learning from and the opportunities to connect with people that were willing to invest at a different level. That made a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I opened my mouth. I think a lot of times, especially in this world where everybody can put a picture online and look really good, like I said earlier today,
Yeah.
that the barrier of entry to starting a business has gotten low, but the barrier to profitability has gotten higher, right? And so, when everybody is looking really good and my images look great, I've got all these followers, right? Because you heard me say this how I was Facebook rich and profit poor,
Yep.
right? A lot of people follow me on Facebook, a lot of people follow me
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
no money. And I started asking and saying, "Hey, this is not working. Help me." Instead of, "Well, you look really successful, so they're going to expect you
Right.
to know how to do everything." And no, I know how to make that look good, but I don't know how to do X, Y, and Z, and I need help. And so I asked for what I needed, and I raised my rates, which was something else that was really important. Coming back into this, I'm a former teacher. You know, teachers, we want to help everybody.
Yeah.
And so,
Sometimes for
you know,
free.
well, a lot of times, right? Because, so what I say is I had to finish the sentence because I was saying, I want to help women. I want to help this. I want to help, healers. I want to help authors. And so I ended to the end of that statement. I want to help people generate leads and I want to get paid for the value I deliver.
Yes. And
And exactly, finishing that sentence,
yes.
right, really helped me. And like I said, I was laughing because I talked to these guys in a program. They were trying to, get me to enroll in a program. I think I did enroll in a program. And I remember him saying, "So what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I did $100,000 and I want to double that." He said, "Oh, okay. So you want to make $200,000 a month?" And I was like, "Huh?"
What'd you say? What?
Because that's pop like, and literally my tongue was that like, oh, that's a thing.
Right.
Because I was talking about, so I made $100,000 in a year, and I was like happy because I had replaced and surpassed the salary that I was bringing in my day job, and I had
Yeah.
$100,000. These guys are making $400,000 a month, Tanya.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
But
and
it
so
is
when he was like,
doable.
okay, exactly, because it rolled off his tongue like nothing. He was like, "Oh, so you say you want to make $200,000 a month? Oh, that's totally doable." It's like, it is. Like, are you punking me right now? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But I had to start having some different conversations and I had to start choosing better clients. We talk about how marketing is like dating all the time.
Yeah.
And, just because if you're meeting guys that just don't have jobs and they don't have any ambition, you don't just settle and say, okay, I guess this is who I'm dating. Well, hopefully you don't do that, right?
I hope not.
Um, right. You go somewhere else where the people have jobs and ambition, and you talk to those people. And so I had to do the same thing. And my biggest win and lesson was when I started using quizzes. When I left my last day job, I had an old email list. I had talked to them in about 2.5 years, about 2,500 people. And I knew I needed a list. And so I sent that list of 2,500 people that had not heard from me in 2.5 years. And I said, hey, take this quiz. And within 2 weeks, I had 500 people back on my email list in 2 weeks. I said, I'm on to something here. That 500 people that I sent that said yes to me, that
Mhm.
allowed me to build my coaching practice back up like that. And a couple of months later, I wanted to expand it. And I said, okay, we're going to play around with these Facebook ads. Let's give this a try. And the first time Facebook took money out of my account, that's what it felt like. I was like, they stole my money. They didn't steal it. But, that's what it feels like when you get that little notification. Hey, you just charged your card. Like, what are you doing?
Look, I have to share this comment real quick. So
Uh,
Dan said, I can deal with the ramen, but I don't understand Minnesota. But then later he says, I'll move to Minnesota for 400K a month. I
Hey,
know,
listen,
right?
listen, when you could take that New York salary and you can make it work in Minnesota, and quite honestly, Minnesota had, so I'm a big believer in public schools, Dan, former public school teacher, and I wanted my daughter to go to public schools. Now, we were originally from Philadelphia. She ain't going to no public school in Philadelphia. Sorry if you're from Philly. Actually, I'm not sorry. You already know.
You know.
But I needed to be in a place where there were good public schools. And at the time, I was doing career coaching.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
Minnesota, right? I was the career makeover coach. And so Minnesota had great schools. Minnesota had great colleges. Minnesota had Fortune 500 companies, lots of outdoors, so lots of good stuff. And I wasn't, I was working from home, so I didn't have to drive in the snow. So I didn't care,
Yep. Yep.
you know. But back to the whole thing about using the quiz. When I first used Facebook ads, um, they took $500 out of my account, and I turned the ad off because I was like, "You're not taking my money." And my coach said, right, he said, "So why'd you turn it off?" I said, "Well, they took my money." And I was so glad. Like, this was before Zoom was a real big thing, so I'm so glad because he would have saw the neck roll. They took my money,
They took
and
my
the attitude.
500. Mm-hmm.
That's right. He said, "Yeah, but how much did you make, Ty?" I said, "Oh." So $500 is what I'd spent. Um, and I turned that into 10 booked sales calls. Two of those people went on to sign full contracts. So I had $8,500 from a quiz, investing $500, right? And so if you do the math, if every time you gave me $500, I gave you $8,500, you would keep giving me $500.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I'll
And so
give
that,
$500 for 8,500. Yeah.
listen, I'd give you $500 for $1,000. I
I
mean, let's
know.
let's be real,
It's profit. It's still
right?
profit. It's about the
E-
profit.
Exactly, exactly. So that was a big turning point for me in using an interactive lead generation strategy because we all need to build leads,
Mm-hmm.
right? We all need to grow our email list because we can't pray to the algorithms of Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram forever. So using a quiz to generate leads became the thing that really moved my business forward. And since then, I never had to wonder where my next clients were coming from. In fact, in 4 months, we added 9,000 people to our email list.
Wow. And
Yeah.
you know what? What I love about what you're saying, and there's a couple of questions in here that I want to pull up. John is asking
Hmm.
a couple. What I love about what you're saying as you're walking us through what happened and how quizzes changed your whole trajectory is that you know your numbers.
Hmm.
And I think that's an important, even beyond what the numbers are. I think the fact that you studied those and you recognized and acknowledged, here's where I'm, putting in this type of effort and this is what the outcome is. And that you made
Hmm.
strategic decisions about who you were going to learn from and strategic decisions about how you were going to continue to build on what you were, doing. So I just love it.
Mhm.
Let me I'm going to pop up a couple of really quick things. Yeah, and Dan says polls are the easiest lead gen on LinkedIn. I believe that too, because
Mhm.
people love quizzes. So let me go back, John. I'm going to make sure I pull this question up so I don't forget. He said, "Are there any tips that you have for finding better clients?" And if that is within the wheelhouse of what you're talking about in terms of quizzes, feel free to answer that if you can.
It absolutely is, and you've got a link that we're going to be sharing a little bit later. I mean, it's build a better lead magnet. Lead magnets are to attract your ideal people, and so a lot of times people are just thinking, well, if I just post something, then I'm going to get leads, but you haven't really given them any value.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we love quizzes so much, is because it gives you, first of all, it's going to give you more than just an email address. And it's going to also help you qualify and segment people, but you're also delivering insight and value that they didn't have before. And so you're increasing that know, like, and trust. You're building a relationship faster, and you're helping them out by giving them insight. So the key to getting better clients is to make sure you have a better way to pull them in. Everybody's got a PDF. And listen, we still use PDFs. We still use VSLs, video sales letters. We still use webinars. And we've added a quiz to the mix to help us pull those people in faster. And so, better clients, be really focused about who your audience is, what your offer is, and what your message is. And then use a quiz to actually pull them in and segment them and then follow up with them. And that's how we've been getting really, really good leads.
Wow. So she's giving you the formula, everybody. But I'll fast forward and just say that she's also going to share with you. We're going to share with you a link to something that is going to help you if you still are kind of like, that sounds good. I think I can do it. She's going to give you a link that's going to help you as well to get to that place of really understanding how to put this strategy in motion. And actually, you and your team worked with me on my quiz to help
Mhm.
people to really understand where they fall into the live stream world. And that was really, for me, it was eye opening because it gave me
Mhm.
an opportunity to figure out, like you said, how to segment people. And so, to the point that John asked this question, he says, "Do quizzes help potential clients self select?" Yeah,
Yeah.
it helps them self select, and you can qualify them according to the answers and responses they give, right? That's what you
Mhm.
and your team helped me to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Self select, it helps you do a better job with personalizing your messaging. And I think one of the things that folks have to understand is that, you know, social media has made us, believe in microwave marketing, right? Where we have this belief that if I just put something out today, I'm going to get 90 billion clients tomorrow. Or
Yeah.
if I just get this one reel, this one video,
I want to go
everything's going to
viral.
change in my business. Exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's not how real marketing works. So with quizzes and just like with video, what you're doing is you're building relationships and you're nurturing those people. A lot of what we see online are people that are focused on that 3% of the people who are going to buy now, right? There's that the book, I think it's called The Sales Referral Machine or something like that. And he talks about how only 3% of your audience is ready to buy at any given time. And what a lot of people are doing is they're focused on that 3%. They're forgetting about the other 47% of people that need to be nurtured, that
Mm-hmm.
need to evaluate their options, that are going to do their research. And the consumers, whether it's B2B or B2C, they're much more savvy now because of all the information that's available to them. And so it's not just, hey, look at me in my cool video, now buy. It's, hey, look at me in my cool video and I'm interested in learning about you. And so what we say is you've got to have the system behind your video, your quiz, whatever you're doing, you're bringing that traffic. You got to have a system that helps people go from I'm interested enough to give you my name and email address
Yep.
to I'm in, as in I'm willing to invest in working with you because we've built a relationship. And quizzes, just like most of the other lead magnets out there, they still have that. Now it will build your list faster, but you've got to nurture those people over time. And it's a long term game, not this short term game that a lot of people are expecting because of what they think they're seeing out there on social media.
I've got two questions from you for you based on that. So one, Dan mentioned, he said, I don't have an email list. I probably should. I just know LinkedIn strategy. So I want to bounce a little bit off of that. I'm not picking on you, Dan, but I want to ask a question of Ty that I know she'll have some insight into. One is, should you, do you, must you have an email list in this moment in history? Is it important to have an email list? And then my second
Mm-hmm.
part of that question is, how have you changed the way that you behave with social media? You know, you talked about Facebook being your social media thing, like that's how you built up
Mm-hmm.
initially. What are you doing differently today with social? So, email first, and then what are you doing
Mm-hmm.
differently today with social?
Oh, that's a really great question. So email, yes. Despite what people think, email is still the number one way that 80% of businesses either get new clients or make more money off their existing client base. Email marketing has a higher ROI than Facebook or TikTok. The numbers, and it's gone down just a little bit in the last year or two. But for every $1 you spend on email marketing, if you got all the things set up in your business the right way, you can expect $40 back. You don't get that kind of ROI on Facebook, right? So when you hear people say build your list, and there's the fortune is in your list, and the goal, your list is a gold mine. That's why, because the statistics say that's where most people are making their buying decisions. Now we know that they don't always read all the emails, and that's not important. I'm gonna give you a little bit of the psychology behind that. It's not as important that people read your emails. What's important is that they see your name in their inbox enough so that when they're ready to make a buy decision, you're top of mind. We know you're not reading all that stuff, right? It's going to sit there, or you're going to delete it, or you got it auto filtered or anything like that. But what we do know is that, let's say you've been on my list for 2 months. Actually, I had this happen to me the other day. Somebody, because and we have a CRM called Lead Momentum, which we own that CRM. It's a white label version of High Level for those of you who are techie like that and know. But
Ah,
we've got this system. And I had a woman, and I could look back and see, I'm like, hey, you attended my webinar back in 2021. She was like, yep, I've been following you, and now we're ready. And so I just want to get all your numbers, because we know in January, this is the priority for our business. 2021, and she's been on my email list. So, and here's what I want you to understand: whenever we do these challenges, I'm emailing people every day. Whenever we do Black Friday, I'm emailing people every day. She's been on my list since 2021 and has never unsubscribed, right? But when she was ready to move forward with using quizzes for her marketing, who was top? Oh yeah, I love what you do.
yep.
Da, 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 I've been following you. So that's the power of that relationship, and what we call it is a community of buyers. So don't just call it my audience or my subscribers. We're really trying to cultivate a community of buyers with our email list. So email, absolutely. And how has that changed what we do with Facebook and social media? So it used to be where it was like the glorious thing to have all the action happening on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
right? How many people do you have following your business page? And remember those days when the business page
Yep.
was everything?
It meant everything.
Oh my gosh, right? And so now the way I'm using social media is twofold. I use it to get people on my email list, because God forbid they decide that they're going to do something weird, or you get
Yeah.
locked out, or occasionally it goes down. People get crazy. Oh my gosh, Facebook is down. I have
Yeah.
over 9,000 people on my email list. I am not worried. I've got 9,000 people on my list, and for about 6,000 people, I've got phone numbers to go along with that. So guess what we'll
Smart.
be doing? We're going to be picking up the phone,
Very smart.
right?
Very smart.
Yeah. So yeah, and the other way we've been using Facebook is to cultivate relationships with people. So we've got Facebook groups and communities, and even so any other kind of social media too. And you'll hear people say talk about going into DMs and those kind of things. But we use that for visibility and to start the relationship. But our end goal is we want those people on our email list.
I love it. I love it. And so, Dan, hopefully that helps you to think through what your strategy is going to be in getting that email list set up. I love that there's comments coming in talking about building the relationships or everything. Let me pop up
Mhm.
Robin's comment again. That's so true, Robin. My
Yeah.
goodness. And John said, don't propose marriage on the first date. You got to build the relationship.
So I like hey, has John been following me? Because we say that all the time. So the funny thing I say about that is that nobody gets married on the first date. And I have to say this because I say it everywhere, Tanya, except because I got to put this out in the universe. Okay. Except if you are Jason Momoa, Morris Chestnut, or Idris Elba, and you
Yeah.
show up on the first date, I'm gonna come with the ring and the dress. I'm
I
just letting y'all now listen.
know
No,
the
no
dress.
disrespect to their wives, but I'm gonna have the ring and the dress if they show up on the first date. So, but nobody else, nobody
I
else, we don't marry
know.
on the first date.
Yeah, we got to qualify. You're right. You're right.
That's right.
Any of
That's
those
right.
I would take, I would say yes. And even though I have I would be like, "Well, no, I'm just
You
kidding."
know that man ain't. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I'm kidding.
You not even. Yeah, I know for
I'm
sure. I know
kidding.
that for sure.
Because he will come back and watch this live and say something. He will do that. Look, I want to
Well,
double check real quick for all of you who are watching right now. I have to get better at doing this, and I'm going to add a graphic that will help me to do this. But I want you, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, if you're learning something, if there's a nugget of gold in this talk that we're having, I want you to like, subscribe, and follow. So don't forget to like the video. All right. And John just said he followed you on LinkedIn, Ty. Oh,
fantastic. I
so
look forward to connecting.
so he didn't steal your saying, but he just followed you.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, yeah, and it's a common saying, but so I love it. Good stuff.
Look, there is a question from Dan. So let me pop this in
Mhm.
here. And let me hear from some of my ladies in here too. Michelle, I see you, but I can't see the post, the comment. So I'm gonna wait for you to rewrite that. Let's see. How much does your perceived social value, for instance, 10,000 followers just on LinkedIn, affect your ability to gain immediate trust with prospective clients? So, does it help to have
Mm.
that presence on these social media platforms?
It does. We say the three things that we help our clients get because they usually don't have this. Like our clients are brilliant at what they do, you know, but a lot of our clients, they've never learned how to market, they've never learned how to sell, and that's what holds them back. And so, we talk about the three V's. You want to have visibility, you want to have volume, and you need to have velocity. Right. And that visibility is what we're talking about here on LinkedIn with those numbers. Now, it does matter, but here's the thing you have to understand about your audience. Does it matter to them? There are
Yeah.
some companies and some people that if they go to your LinkedIn and they see that you have not posted anything in 3 months, they see that you've got like 20 followers, they're going to be like, eh.
Yeah.
There's some people that are going to be like, well, doesn't matter. Look at their resume. Doesn't matter. Look at their testimonials. So you've got to know what moves your audience, right? Are they more concerned about the numbers, or are they more concerned about the testimonials? And
Yeah.
you've got to know that about them.
And what is one way that you can actually find that out?
Ask
I
them.
was going to say quizzes and polls.
Well, yeah, well, quizzes or even
Oh,
just
Lord.
asking.
Dan, he said Idris Elba just texted me to ask me that. Bless your heart.
Oh, Dan, don't get my
Hot
heart
mess.
pumping right now, Dan. I'm trying to stay focused.
I know, right?
um, Now I can't even think about no. We're talking about LinkedIn. Um,
And
I'm
then we
I'm
went to
serious. Like
Idris.
interest. Okay. Um, no, but yeah, I did for. Oh no, we were talking about LinkedIn, and the fact that well, I know I said that, I'm on LinkedIn. No, that's not what I said. I'm not saying Dan, I'm all flustered. Thank
I
you.
know. Look, John
Thank
brought
you,
us back
Idris.
home and said he's taking notes.
Okay.
So he wrote visibility,
Okay.
volume, and velocity. Thank you, John.
Yes, 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 yes. We're talking about visibility. We're talking about the number of people that you got following you. Does it matter on LinkedIn or other platforms? And again, it matters. And you asked the question, how do you know if it matters to them? And I said, ask. Now, could that be a quiz? Quizzes. I like to keep quizzes mostly for understanding information about them that's going to help me solve their particular problem. This question is more something that you can pick up the phone or you can do a poll on LinkedIn and find out, right? Because here's what happens. We're so brilliant sometimes. We literally think that we know all the answers in our head. And
Yeah.
I will ask my clients, so hey, you know those people that you want to actually pay? You want them to pay you for stuff? Did you actually ever ask them? And I'm like, what do you mean, like talk to them? Yeah. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those people, and it could just be me, Tanya, but I'm one of those people where I can talk myself in and out of something like 3 times in like 3 seconds. Like, oh, this is an amazing idea. 2 seconds later, oh my gosh, that's a horrible idea. 5 seconds, oh my gosh, but you could do, and I go back and forth with myself instead of
Hmm.
just saying, hey, I've got some folks on LinkedIn. I could put a poll out and I could say, listen, when you're choosing to work with somebody from LinkedIn, what matters most? Their followers, their testimonials, or their website. Like, I mean, you could literally please take that
Yeah.
exact poll and put it out there, and that's who you're talking to, right? That's who you're getting the right information from. So that's the best way to figure that out.
This is actually reminiscent of a conversation I had with one of my clients earlier this week. We were talking about what she does. So she does these different types of YouTube videos, and I won't share
Mhm.
too much information, but she does videos, and she uses music with them.
Mhm.
And so she was asking, well, why can't I reach my audience, and why can't I, grow the people that are viewing my viewing audience? And I asked her, so who is your audience? Like, who is listening to your music? Well, I want to just, I want to provide music for everybody. Okay. But there's a certain group of people that are drawn to the type of music that you're sharing. Do you know who they are? Well, and you could see the light, like it was starting to churn a little bit. Like, who are
Mhm.
they and why do they care about your music? What does your music do for them?
Yeah.
Well, some of them say it soothes them, and I said, okay, so are some of them going through a transition in life? Because she was mentioning that she thought that their demographics were that they were over the age of 55. I said, what are some of the
Mhm.
life changes that they're going through that make them really want to dive into your music because it's helping to soothe them? What kind of things happen
Mhm.
to people at that age? And so the more we ask those questions, at the end, I said, you need to go and ask them. So, what you're saying is validation. Sometimes we just don't ask
Mhm.
when literally they're sitting right there. And if they like and they comment, we have an open door to say, what drew you to my page? Like, what did you love about
Exactly.
this song?
Yeah. Yeah, that engagement and that listening is so important. And it's not just important because we're going to get a sale. It's important because you're building relationships at the end of the day. Marketing is still about, and sales and business at the end of the day is still about the relationship that you're building. And by showing that you're willing to listen and that you're willing to engage, it's going to say a lot, especially if you're in a platform like LinkedIn, where, I mean, every other minute there's somebody in my inbox making me an offer,
I know.
you know? Show me that you're listening. Show me that you're doing something a little bit different, and it can make the day for somebody.
What is your favorite platform of choice right now? Do you spend more time on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, any of those? Which one is the one where you're like, this is my happy place?
Well, we've been spending a lot of time on Facebook. And we're going to be spending more time on LinkedIn, but we've got two different audiences now. So, I mentioned before that we're actually resurfacing Launch While Working, because of what's happening now with people who are quiet quitting.
Yeah.
We've got lots of folks who are looking to, who are in our space, right? Who are, 45 and older. And, we've been in these corporate environments and we really want to monetize our experience and we don't know where to start. And so it's, we talked about this a long time ago about how we're kind of trailblazers, Tanya, where we're always ahead. And sometimes that means we have to wait for things to catch up to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so way back when I was talking about launch while working in employedpreneurs, it's the time, right? We're right back in that space of people who are trying to figure out how to launch while working. And so we're resurfacing that again. But for that, we're focusing for a lot of our friends that are connected on Facebook because they've got day jobs. But the other thing is LinkedIn. is a great source for that, because a lot of times those people that we want to connect with, they can't get to Facebook on their job, because it's blocked or banned, so they're on LinkedIn.
It's
Okay.
funny because I just got a pop up saying LinkedIn just ended my broadcast. Like it ended, it doesn't have me in it, but you're in it, which is weird. I don't know. Whatever. I'll
Oh,
figure that out later.
that's so funny.
But that is so smart. What you're doing is you're resurfacing, like you said, something that the timing wasn't right before. I think this is a
Hmm.
beautiful point that we need to talk about a little bit. Sometimes we have these great ideas and we try to flesh them out and make them work and make them work, and they're just not working. It doesn't mean that the idea itself is not good, it just may not be the right timing. So, how did you decide? Was it
Hmm.
research, or what made you say, you know what, it's time to dust off, launch while
Yeah.
working? What made that happen?
And Well, it's the numbers, and it's looking at the audience. When we do the challenges, and even in our master classes that we have people sign up for, a lot of the people have day jobs. I took a look. So I used to run a year long accelerator, and 70% of those people had day jobs you
Mm,
know? And I'm like, okay, so there's a lot of people that are launching while working, and I'm a teacher. And so, well, there's three things. I looked at the numbers, I looked at what's happening, in this world. Ooh, how we're blowing chocolate hugs and kisses. Thank you, chocolate treat. I'm sorry, I just saw that. Well, thank you. I'll take it. But I looked at the numbers of who's coming into my space. And I'm always, like I said in the beginning, it's been really important for me to build work that I love. I absolutely love teaching. And one of the critical things for people, if they want to be successful from launching while working, is that they've got to learn how to market. And so I took a look at, here's what's happening in this world where people are quiet quitting. They want to leverage their skills. They want to do freelance work. They want to do all those things. I've got this background because I launched while I was working. So I've successfully done it. One of my big pet peeves is people who will, they'll watch a video and then say, okay, now I know how to do it. Now I'm an expert. Like, please, like, no. Have you done it? Have you lived it? So I've lived this. Not only have I lived it, we've got multiple six figures for the last 3 years in our business. So I've
yeah.
lived it. I've done it successfully. And now I get to teach these folks who are brilliant at what they do, but they don't know how to do marketing. And I can teach them that. And so when I took a look at that, launch while working makes so much sense. Like, it's called launch momentum is what we're folding them into. And let's in 90 days, let's give you the momentum that you need. Let's get your audience, your offer, your messaging together. Let's show
Mm-hmm.
you how to build a client acquisition system, which can have a quiz funnel in it so that you can generate leads. And then let's show you how to drive traffic to it, and packaging that together for those folks who want to launch while working. It just clicked. And here's what's so funny about this. I let that domain go
What?
years ago. Yeah. Yeah. It was one of those things where GoDaddy was like, "Oh, you're from my God."
Mm-hmm.
And when I went back this past month, guess what was waiting? Launchwhileworking.com was available.
Ah, and it wasn't one of
Just sitting
those
here waiting for
big,
me.
big ticket. Hey, pay
No, it
$2,500.
was It was $2.99 for the first year,
Girl,
and eight.
hush.
I said, "Yeah, we're going to snap that up." So things aligned. But again,
Yeah.
trailblazers, and for those of you who are listening that are trailblazers, this is like Tanya was saying, it's the timing. Now we still are focusing on quizzes, but it's the people that we're focusing on, because we're looking at those folks who can invest. Because here's one of the things with quizzes, and this is just like with any lead magnet. It's just like this with video too. If you're not going to invest in like SEO for your video, right? If you're not going to invest in driving traffic to your video or your quiz, it really doesn't help you to do it,
Yeah.
because you can't create all this amazing content. And Tanya, I've been so impressed because I've watched you become a master at this. Like, and I have loved every minute of it, because you are it's just so well done. Um, and with that, you still got to drive traffic to it, right? Because you can't create these masterpieces by working with Tanya and then let it sit there, right? That
Yeah.
would be such a waste. If you're working with Tanya, she's going to help you make this amazing content. She's going to make it easy for you to have confidence and come on camera. So you got to do the right thing and make sure you have a way to drive traffic to it, and so that
Yep.
you actually will get results from it.
It's all system driven, right? What
Mhm.
another thing that I'm really gathering from the conversation we're having right now, I want people to understand while you specifically have had this masterpiece of a quiz funnel system that you've sold and that you've made hundreds of thousands of dollars from, you are not jumping straight into or back into the launch process or the launch momentum program without
Mhm.
having really good systems, solid systems that are going to help to carry you so that you can
Mhm.
do both. What I
Yes.
see too much is people saying, well, I want to be great at this, and then I'm going to be great at this too, and I'm going to be great at this thing over here. And they don't have
Mhm.
any systems to sustain them in all of those different spaces.
Mhm.
While my audience and my following may appear to be small, I'm very systems driven. I'm very systematic in the way that I convert people into paying clients, in the way that I nurture them,
Mhm.
and all the behind the scenes stuff that you don't see is what generates the
Yeah.
income. And I think that that is the same for you too, Ty. Although you have this
Mhm.
huge 9,000 people list, which we need to talk about that
Mhm.
because I need that. But but the thing that I love about what you're sharing, and I want people to really understand, is that there's a lot that goes behind what you do, and you do have a full team now, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like she's got boundaries, y'all. Like I can't even get to my friend Ty without going through 500 people. Like, am I talking to Ty or am I talking to her support team? Oh, this is her support team. Okay. But she has these boundaries in place and these things that
Mhm.
have been put together in order for her to be successful. So I just want anybody who's kind of watching this and you're thinking, oh, well, that's easy. I'll just do this and I'll do that. You need to put those
Mhm.
things in place behind the scenes as well and have that structure and hire good coaches, work with good
Mhm.
people to help you to get those steps in place. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Systems, what we say is we help our clients create a repeatable system so you can have predictable income, right? So
yep,
our repeatable system, like we've got it down. We've got a design, build, and launch,
yep,
right? And that's what we teach our clients. And the thing with us is that we're not changing like what we're doing. We're just focusing on a different phase of it with our audiences. Like the coaches and the consultants that we work with and the launch momentum side, they don't have $1 million budgets to bring in a marketing team to build it for them. But they still need a system for how they're going to generate leads. They need a system for how they're going to create content. They need a system for our CRM system for how they're going to manage all the follow up.
yeah,
And so we can teach them how to do that in our group program. But on the other side, with B2B professional service firms that are more established, like they're not going to sit through like a 5 day challenge. They're not going to sit through like, oh, come into our 90-day program and you come. They're not going to sit there. Can we just pay you to do it? And the answer is yes, you can, right? But they have budget to do that. And so again, this goes back for us, it's fundamental marketing. Who are our audiences? Same problem. Both need leads, both need marketing systems, but the way we deliver that is different. And so we've got the launch side to help this side get their leads,
yep.
and then we've got the other companies that we're going to help and we're going to do it for them.
And there's always something that you can do better at. There's always a system that you can improve so that you can further
Mhm.
scale. What I've seen with you, Ty, is that you have really truly become masterful at scaling because you've put all the anything that had a hole or a gap in it, you fixed it. That's what I'm working on now. That's so for me and Dan, both of us, the email thing, that's what I know. I know that it's
Yeah.
I know that that's where the gold is. I know that,
Mhm.
but I hadn't put,
Yeah.
I had band aid on the
Mhm.
email.
Yeah.
So finding the right people to work with can be hard right now. What is your take, Ty, on? Because I know there's a lot of, and somebody said it earlier, microwave marketers. How
Mhm.
do you choose the person that you should be working with? Why do people choose you?
Mm. Wow, that's a, here's what I hear from people. Um, they like the fact that I'm teaching them. They like the fact that I'm going to answer their questions. They like the fact that I'm patient. I get a lot of folks who are not tech savvy. And at first I was like, but then, because what we're taught, right? We're taught that, or I won't say we're taught, but what's modeled for us out there in the industry is that, oh, I'm untouchable. I don't do
Yep.
this and I don't do that. And I don't want to be, that's not how I am. That's not who I am at all,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not like that either.
Mm-mm.
And at some point, and I don't know if this was true for you, but it felt like a detriment because I'm not getting the quote unquote status that so and so is getting because they made themselves untouchable. But then at the end of the day, I had to sit back. Well, do I really want that kind of status, or do I really want to help people and get paid for it?
Yep.
Right. So I had to think about that. And then I also had to recognize and really think about who I am. And like I said, I'm a teacher, at heart. I love being able to do this. So I'm not just looking for people who want a quick fix. The people that follow me, they want the information and insight. They want somebody to teach them, and they want someone to show them. And then I'm also a coach. So teachers and coaches are kind of similar. If you
Yes.
and I'll make sure at some point I'll when we had that link, I'll share it with you. And if you want to share it with your audience, that's fine. We've got that quiz coming back again about what type of entrepreneur are you? Because here's one thing I've realized about coaches, and you don't see this a lot. Um, Coaches, really good coaches, are not defined by their own bank accounts. I'll say that again. Really good coaches are not defined by their own bank accounts. They're defined by the talent that they coach to the next level.
Mm.
And we don't see a lot of that in our industry. We see all these coaches who are like, well, look at what I did, and na 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 na
Yep.
na. And my best example of this is Phil Jackson. Never seen that man in basketball shorts a day in my life. However, I have seen his handiwork in that of Michael Jordan and that of Shaq and Kobe. Now, if I'm picking a coach based on results, I'm picking Phil Jackson all day long
Yep.
because he has coached the GOATs, the greatest of all time. I've never seen him in basketball shorts though,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a good coach is. A good coach, they're defined by the people. And we've got plenty of people that we've supported and helped. Whether it was, helping with the quiz that we built for you and seeing you get, I think what was like a 60% conversion rate at some point with some of those
Yep.
people. We've had other clients that, we've helped them sell their books. We've helped them, get visibility. One client that we had, when she came to us, she was just out of a homeless shelter.
Mm.
And she tells us, I'm not telling anything out of turn. This is her story. She's written a book about it. And now she just finished a TV show. She spoke at Harvard, at Etsy, done TEDx talks. I'm that coach. And that's why people want to come in my space, because I'm not trying to steal the spotlight from them,
Right.
but I am going to make them shine. And I love doing that.
I'm so glad I asked that question.
That was a really good question.
Because I wanted to hear your answer to that, and that was beautiful. I mean, that just like gave me goosebumps. So we got
Oh,
two things we need to do left. One, I want to showcase how people can get in touch with you. John already found you on LinkedIn, so
here we go.
I'm going to share. Let me do this first. I'm going to share your
Mhm,
Instagram. So if you find her at Instagram at Tai Goodwin, you'll see
mhm.
her information there. So definitely follow there. And then also, the other site that we wanted to share is Quiz to Clients. So let me just make sure
Yeah.
that I update that. So quiztoclients.com. Do you want to tell people what this is about? Like, what is this site doing?
Yeah, so now we've got to update just a little bit with this because we're doing another quiz to clients masterclass February 20th, because we just wrapped up one. But if you go there now and if you click the join button now, you get access to the last one, and we'll give you the live one as well. But this is a 5-day where we walk you through creating your own like your client magnet, right, quiz that adds 300 people to your list every single month on autopilot. So we're going to walk you through our process. So if you want to take the framework that we give you and you want to go create your quiz, fantastic. If you want to take this so that you understand how it works and then hire us, that's even more fantastic. But you're going to, if you watch the video, what you'll see is it's a system that we teach you for how we take our clients and build quizzes with them, but we're giving you the high level understanding so you know how quiz funnels work.
I love it. I love it. So quiz2clients.com, and then you can follow her as well at Tai Goodwin. So you'll see her
Hmm.
Instagram right there. I love these like
Yeah.
glamour shot photos of you, by the way. I've been loving those.
You know what's so funny? I got to tell you this. One of my clients said, "You must spend a lot of money." Can I tell you that's my iPhone? That is all an iPhone.
Look at these. They're just like lovely shots. They're just cute. I love them. I love them. I'm going to switch us to our very final thing, and this is our card deck. And
Hmm.
if anyone has
Yay.
questions or comments, feel free to pop those into the chat, of course. I know that my normal folks are probably going to be showing up in about 5 minutes. Like, hey, where's the party? We're done. Um, so I want to ask a couple of questions from our pod deck, and our
Mhm.
pod deck is focused this time on Black History Month because, as you know, February is the month for celebrating Black history. Although we literally celebrate Black history every day because we're making it.
Mhm.
What is your favorite moment from Black History time?
This was, oh my goodness, my favorite moment.
I know that's hard. It is.
Hmm. Okay, so one of my favorite moments, this is gonna sound so sappy, um,
I'm moving
was
stuff
watching
around. You can
Michelle.
set it up.
Oh, you
Go
can
ahead.
hear me. Was watching Michelle and Barack Obama dancing together.
Oh,
And that was such a favorite moment for me because of after all the things that we've seen with families torn apart in the history of this country, and especially Black families torn apart, to see that at the White House, it just did something to me. Like I'm still like I'm getting warm right now.
mm-hmm.
Just tingles right now just thinking about it because it was just such an endearing moment that someone is just never thought we see anything like this, right? That was a
Yeah.
joke on TV, or that was what we saw in movies, and to see that normalized, it was just amazing for me.
It was something I never thought I'd see. It was something that my, uncles and aunts and cousins and other family members never thought that we would see. So
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think that was an excellent and just the inauguration itself was
Hmm.
that was powerful. That was a
Yeah.
powerful time. Okay, I'm gonna
Hmm.
test it and see what's next. This is deeper. So John said this deck is much deeper than many of the others. Yeah, it is kind of. Who's your favorite Black scientist?
Oh my
Interesting.
gosh. Oh my gosh. This is well, I guess the only one I really trying to think how many Black scientists do I know, right? Um, but oh, I can never say his name. Tyson DeGrasse,
Oh
the
yeah,
science, the astronomy guy.
yeah.
I love him because he's just so funny. And he's so a scientist and has no shame. You know what I mean? He doesn't try to like he's just who he is. So yes, he's very smart. Neil deGrasse Tyson, I think. Neil Tyson
That's
deGrasse, something
it.
like that. But
That's it. That's the name.
he's brilliantly smart, so confident in himself, and just such a cool guy.
Yep.
Like I would love to like have coffee with him. That would be so much fun.
That would be fun. Mine is a guy that I actually went to FSU with who is very prominent in his work right now. He is a meteorologist and he
Mm.
he studies, he stays on top of trends, he shares he blows up falsehoods that people have because a lot of
Mm.
people have false beliefs around science these days, which is something I never thought I'd see too, right? But He's very sharp and he is always on point. So Marshall Shepard, he's
Hey,
probably in my
Marshall.
feed at some point. I know. He's going to be like, wait, what did she just say? But he is. He's my favorite black scientist. Okay, you ready to
Right.
do one more?
Let's do it.
Okay, we'll do one more from the deck. And there was some I scrolled through and I was like, ooh, no, we're not going to do that. Oh, look, who's your favorite black entrepreneur?
Wait, other than myself,
Other
oh
than you.
man, there's so many. There's so many. My favorite black entrepreneur right now. Hmm. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna give my top three. Okay, don't tell Tanya, y'all. I'm gonna give it top three. Um,
What?
I've been hanging out with Adrienne Graham, I think you might know her. You know, you may connect to her online, and she's just one of my favorite folks because she just has such vision for the women that she works with, and I just really, really love that. I'm also a huge fan of the folks behind Curl Kit.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and I've met
Yeah.
them and I know them. And honestly, I'm going to give a shout out to Ronnie and Lamar Tyler of Traffic Sales and Profit. I was a part of their community for a while, and it's just been amazing to see how they've grown the community. I mean, their last event they had amazing people. Their upcoming event, they've got like Issa Rae and Jermaine Dupri, and it just really
Yes.
for a Black community. It was the first time where it was normalized for me to be in a community of Black entrepreneurs where it's okay to talk about making 6 and 7 figures. And not
Yeah.
only is it okay to talk about it, it's okay to actually do it.
Yeah.
Go figure.
They
So
just
give them a shout
had an
out.
event, I think, this past
I
week.
know.
And
Yeah, I was so frustrated. Yeah, because Marcus Lemonis was there, and I'm a huge Marcus Lemonis fan of the Prophet. But when I was my last event that I went to was my birthday, June 23rd, and I didn't want to go because it was my birthday, but I
hmm
wanted to go because it was my birthday and Magic Johnson was this was the speaker. So I was like this, I was like 4 feet away from Magic Johnson. Actually, he's probably one of my favorite Black entrepreneurs. I can't believe I forgot about that because when you hear the stories about what he did with Starbucks, about the contracts and the different companies that he's been able to build,
Wow.
oh my goodness, that man is brilliant in what he does beyond just the basketball court. So,
That's lovely. And I think I would just tag on to some of the same people that you mentioned. And I will
mhm,
add, gosh, there's been just a bevy of black men that I've gotten a chance to sit
mm,
in front of and to sit and just like have a Zoom coffee chat with over the past
yeah,
month. It's been crazy.
uh-huh,
And it's just like been synchronicity. It's just been something that, hey, you need to talk to this person. Kirk
mhm,
Nugent, DJ Strick was on my show last week, I think it was.
mhm,
Stephen Hart, who we haven't spoken
mhm.
for a minute, but Stephen is doing amazing things over on LinkedIn right now. Stephen A.
Okay.
Hart, y'all. Check him out.
Wow.
Has
Uh-huh.
always been true to himself, but also just an amazing, incredible giver. Um,
Mm,
gosh, there's so many. JP High Tech, how could I forget? JP
mhm,
High Tech, very humble person. But when I tell you, he has masterfully taken a lot of the things that I'm doing with my branding from a video standpoint and helped me to upscale my game. Ty,
mm,
from the graphics, like even the one that you see right
mhm.
now, to
Yeah.
just having honest conversation and saying, hey, this is not working. This is what you need to try.
Mhm.
Those are the type of conversations I love to have with other Black entrepreneurs in
Yeah.
a real, authentic way where we're really supporting and helping each other to come up. Like we
Mm.
all want each other to win. So I love that you mentioned traffic sales and profit, and I got a plan on going to the next one. So if you're coming, if you're going,
Yeah.
let me know so that we can meet up.
Let's do that. Let's go together. That was so much fun. And yeah, and here's what I love about this. I love that we have a hard time making a short list of our favorite Black entrepreneurs because it wasn't that way when we did our podcast together years ago. It
That's
wasn't
right.
that way at all.
We could have asked that question. I don't know who I would have said at the time, honestly. My
Same.
queen is somebody else. Look, so there's still more.
Oh, Mike Wayne. He's a
Mike
character.
Wayne.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's my brother. That's
Tanya,
my
what is her name? Izzy and Liv is a company that is amazing.
love them.
Nicole Brown. She's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Gwen Jameer of Naturalicious.
Oh, I don't know
Oh,
that
just
name.
so many. Oh yeah.
Is this hair
She's
products?
natural hair products.
Okay, I
She's been
need them
on
for both my
Oprah's
girls.
list and, seven-figure company, all, and she's opened a good hair bar in Detroit. So
Ooh,
yeah, she was a former client. We built the quiz, for her brand. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's just so many great things happening, right now, in the world of Black entrepreneurship. And it's an honor, and I'm just so grateful that we get to be part of it. And we actually are getting to help birth some of these folks into the
I
world.
know.
Sound exciting.
That is awesome. And I know some of you probably don't get this, but like she
Hmm.
said, just years ago, when we first started, we would not have been able to have such a robust conversation and list of people that we
Hmm.
knew, right? Because it's an isolated feeling sometimes. It you feel lonely. You don't feel like you fit
Hmm.
in into some of the, I'll say, more visible, more popular spaces.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
now there's opportunity for us to connect and to know each other and to know what accomplishments have been
Hmm.
made in this space. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
just amazing. I want to continue to see
Yeah.
that. I love it.
Yeah.
I want to see more
Yeah.
women of color. I want to see more of us just
Yes.
on the rise in the digital marketing
Yeah.
space.
I got to give one more shout out, Suzanne. You mentioned that Akila Robinson,
Ah, I know the name.
Black woman tech founder. She has a SEO app.
That's
And so I
crazy.
got to give her a shout out because underrepresentation of Black women in tech.
Yes.
I'm part of a tech startup now. By the way, we'll have to have a conversation about that. But I'm actually part of a tech startup.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah. I'm the one of the co-founders of a Black tech startup. So yeah, there's not hasn't been a lot of Black women in that space, but I'm glad to get to see more folks stepping into that space. So
Tracy said, I'm so grateful and humbled to be here and now. Me too.
hey, Tracy.
Me too. I want to make a mark in a positive way, in a different kind of way, but also in a way that's going to uplift and support and encourage others who look like us to be more visible and to get out there and be
Mhm.
noticed. So,
Yeah, and you
good
are.
morning.
You're doing such an amazing job. And one of the things I think you help do too is you help us be visible to other people who don't look like us, because you're creating that opportunity, you're building those relationships, you're creating that landscape. So I just think you're doing amazing, amazing, amazing work,
Thank you,
Tanya.
Ty. Thank you. I know I kept you long, but I love the conversation. I love that we get to reconnect.
Yeah.
Definitely, we need to be planning to do TSP together. So,
Yes.
so we're gonna play, and we can have spa day and some other stuff too mixed in. And okay, we need to do all that.
Yes. Yeah, because you're gonna need to de-thaw from what's happening for a long time. So you need to de-thaw from.
Girl, I need this mess to go away. This whole ice thing is done. I'm
Uh-huh.
over it right
Yeah.
now. So I really appreciate you. I hope that everyone who is watching and who's watching the replay, I hope that you will go and you will follow my girl. Let me pull that website up one more time. Quiz to
Hmm.
clients. So I'm going to go
Hmm.
back to that, quiztoclients.com. And you have a masterclass coming up February 20th through
You
the
do.
24th, it looks like.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
whenever you're watching this, now you might be watching this later and you may have missed out, but she continues to do, don't you do this periodically?
We do
Okay.
it about every 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. So doing it periodically. So if you miss out on the one that's dated here, just know that you still need to come back. And also follow her on Instagram as well so that you can stay connected and know what's coming up. But I just
Mhm.
appreciate you so much. I'm so thankful that you and I got a chance to spend a little time together again. It's been great.
Yeah.
John said, thanks, Ty and Tanya. Great conversation. Thank you, John, for your questions.
Nice
Thank
to
you,
meet you, John.
Dan.
Yeah.
Tracy.
Mm.
Michelle said, great show. Thank you, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
We're going to have an amazing time, amazing year. 2023 is the year. I'm
Yes.
just going to speak that into existence. And that's for everybody who's watching and listening to the sound of my voice. But Ty, I'm going to stay connected and figure out what's going on with you. And I'm going to get past the boundaries of your your team so I can connect with you directly, ma'am. Nicolette said,
Yeah.
thanks. This was great. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you like the show or give us a heart. I see a heart in there. So thank you for that. We
Mhm.
will have you back on the show again, maybe for a panel, Ty. Would you be interested?
Absolutely. Anything you need, anything you want.
I love it. I love it. All righty, folks. Well, I'm going to switch over and we're going to close it on out and just let you know that he said, I need that direct line. I know, right? John, speak up for me, man. Help me get on into the behind the scenes. Michelle says, I receive it. I receive it. Yes, we are going to do some amazing things. I'm looking forward to the month of February. I hope that you all are too. Usually I try not to date my videos, but I wanted to do that because this is Black History Month and I wanted us to speak to some of the things that you heard us talk about, which I think we have to emphasize some of the positive things that are happening in this space of culture. There's a lot of negative things. There are a lot of things that are going on right now, a lot of social justice issues and other conversations. We also need to talk about the wins and the accomplishments that we are putting forth. And so I'm proud that I got a chance to talk with Ty about all the names of the people that you heard. And I hope you go and find and follow them as well. Thank you for watching this evening. We will be back on regular schedule next week. I have another special guest, Devin Gillen, I believe is who I'm going to be talking to next week from story.co. And story.co is a company that I use to help me to repurpose some of my live stream videos into short clips. So you'll definitely want to come back and hang out and ask questions and see how that thing works because it's pretty amazing. Have a great evening. Thank you so much for your response and the mutual great evening wishes. And we will see you all next time in the stream. Make sure you're following, you're liking, and you're subscribing so you don't miss when we talk about tips for live streaming, but also for just leveraging digital marketing for your business because it's really expansive. There's so many things you can do. Live streaming is just a part of it. All right, everybody, take care and have a good night.